Hello, good evening, and welcome to this week's edition of BOI Impact. I am Hadiza Olaosebikan. In continuation of our coverage of the Ministry of Industry, Trade and Investment activities, tonight's program will also focus on the ministry's continuous oversight visit to industries around the country. If you recall, recently we brought you the visit by the Honourable Minister of Industry, Trade and Investment, Dr. Okechukwu Enelama, to some industries in Lagos and Ogun State. This week, the oversight function moved to Kano State, where the Honourable Minister of State, Hadiza Abubakar, toured some notable industrial locations like the Dangote factory site along Kano-Zaria Expressway. Others were the National Truck Manufacturers NTM, Gongwani Company Limited, Umza Rice Mill and Kano Free Trade Zone, amongst others. The minister had in her team directors at the ministry and top management of the Bank of Industry. Here are highlights of the visit as captured by BOI Impact crew. See you on the other side. The Honourable Minister of State's itinerary in Kano started at the Dangote's factory site along Kano-Zaria Road.
This is the collection center. Farmers are bringing the tomato. This is the quality control checks happening outside the factory. So those that meet the requirement, we put them into our bins and transport them into the. These are some of the farmer groups when we are meeting with them, with already signing with them.
So you give them capacity?
Yes, we do. We train them. This is the process in the factory. That's the receiving end. Look at the water pool. This is the conveyor. It's coming into the conveyor. You can see this is a line of trucks.
From the farmers?
Yes, from the farmers. This is the jet of water.
Not just your own farmers. It's farmers
No,
around.
Yes. Because
so you buy at different prices then?
No, we have the same price for every farmer from wherever you bring it. I give you the same price.
Do you subject their own to particular quality tests before you?
Yeah, that's the one I show you in the picture there.
But those from your own farmers, you don't.
No, even from our own farmers. Yes, because we have to maintain the standard. Even the one we grow in our farm too, we have to subject. Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to ask, it's not enough to subject them to control when they get here. Where they are growing in their farms, do you give them support too?
We do, right from
Extensions
we work with them and the input suppliers. And even in fact, we had to bring in NAEC in case of any loss, the farmer gets compensated. Yes.
Already there's no tomato.
Yes.
Already the price of tomato is high.
Mm-hmm.
We're saying that tomato is bad. And people are now complaining they don't have tomato or
Yes.
what. So what can we quickly do to inject or to encourage the production of tomato?
What you can quickly do, like you have to partner with the Federal Minister of Agri. You see the most critical, important issue is farmers to be registered as a legal cooperative entity, whereby they know they have a responsibility and there's a facility that will be given to them year-round to grow this tomato, so it's not any problem to them, and a good price will be given to them. And then there is also a ready off-taker. Guaranteed. And we, as a company, we are looking at the export market. All these Niger, Chad, that are landlocked, that are importing pests. That's our target market. So if this ban is sustained, I'm very sure within the next 2 years, tomato will no longer be an issue.
So what's your investment here?
About 4 billion.
$9?
Naira.
Because then you the riskier part of the business.
Yes.
Because if you're looking at that,
Mm-hmm.
you can make millions with the team.
No doubt about it.
So what was the
Motivation.
yes?
You see, the motivation first, we want to see how can we play in the market. One, to stop importation of this waste. That is why we didn't go into the small parks. We are doing the big parks so that these importers can buy from us and stop importing. So if that should happen, then it will spur other investors to go into backward integration.
From there, they moved to the national truck manufacturers, where they interacted with the management of the company.
NTM began operations in 1980 and it was set up primarily for the assembly of heavy-duty trucks and agricultural tractors. The installed capacity was around 5,000 units of agricultural tractors and close to 6,000 for heavy-duty trucks. Now, the vision back then was to develop Nigeria into establishing its own, what they termed the Nigerian vehicle. So, since the onset of production in this company, we have been focused on only obtaining high-quality components for assembly here. And once any new vehicle comes on ground, we take a 6-month period in which to test it thoroughly on Nigerian roads, normal driving conditions, not just in our factory premises, but all over Nigeria, from the south to the north, different wet and dry conditions, so that we're sure that no changes need to be made. And over the last 10, 13 years, we've made significant changes on most of the vehicles. The tractor assembly plant, 5,000 units on 1 8-hour shift per year. So at no time, perhaps from customs or from the ministry itself, you can get the figures of the imports of brand new trucks. We have never imported up to more than 5,000 units in 1 year, brand new, fully built trucks into Nigeria. So this facility alone, on 1 8-hour shift, can make 7,000 units. Even contract assembly, one of the members who is registered on with an assembly license, Lanreshitu Motors, they're bringing their own consignment here for us to do contract assembly for them, because their own facility is not yet ready. Okay. So this was one of the agreements before the auto policy was made up. Okay. Myself, National Trucks Manufacturers, Peugeot, Anamco, Steer Bauchi, we all went along with the then minister to speak in South Africa to discuss the setup, and we were made to agree that if anybody requires contract assembly to be done, will our lines be made open. And since we have for heavy duty trucks, anybody who wants to bring in SKD, CKD, we're ready to assemble for them under contract. And we've signed since the beginning of the auto policy, since 2014. So Lanreshitu Motors has been bringing their consignment here.
With that arrangement?
Yes, because if we're not working at full capacity, then we have. It's a waste. This year we haven't gone above 5% capacity utilization.
So those components are brought from Lagos by train or by trailers?
Both ways. APMT, we do our clearing through APMT, so they bring it, unfortunately by train it's only 24 containers that can fit at the moment until the Nigerian Railway Corporation expands the line. So I think the maximum number of containers they can bring is 24.
And the last stop on day one of the visit was a tour of Gongoni Company Limited in Sharaɗa Industrial Estate in Kano.
This bottle, we are using it for, we have an agricultural product. It's a powder, crop protection. We'll show you where we produce it. So this, of course, the mixing and everything is upstairs because of capacity we can't afford to bring it. But it's safe for human consumption. Yeah. If you put your food and wash, okay. It's a waste paper where we make our mosquito coil. We have waste because it's bought. So we now wanted to do something with the waste. After a long thought, we decided, okay, this is part of the thing we do.
Recycling the waste.
We are recycling the waste. This finished product, so you can see how nice it looks. So this is now ready for the store and from the store to the market.
Apart from here, what you saw, we have the soap plant in Bompai, which I explained to you, produces soap. We have tried as much as possible in furtherance of the government's intentions to try to produce as much as we can high quality products in Nigeria at affordable prices. We have done a lot, and we are a company that believes in reinvesting, because we've always reinvested. Whatever profits are made are reinvested. We are not after, of course you are in business to make money, but that's not the main purpose. The main purpose is to develop our society. We can only do that by providing lots of employment for people. In fact, that's why you see there are many machines that we can scrap and bring automated machines. But we also think if we send people out on the street, that isn't helping anybody, neither us nor the government. And so we've tried as much as possible. In this recession, when people have been closing, in fact, for the last 3-4 years, people have been laying off people. We have a conscious decision not to sack anybody. We have always insisted on that. We'd rather make adjustments than to send people on the street. That has come at a cost. But you know, socially, you have to have some cost. It's part of our corporate social responsibility. Of course, we do other things, corporate social responsibility, in many areas in Kano. But I mean, we thought, okay, to brave it is part of our corporate social responsibility. And so far, we've been lucky, but things have been very tough, to be candid. We have had problems, like I explained to the Honourable Minister, on foreign exchange. We've had serious problems. But because of our relationship with our suppliers, they were giving us things on credit, so we're bringing based on BCs. Really part of our saving grace is very little, is the exports we do, because the small proceeds we get, we try to offset. Another problem we're having is smuggling and fake products.
Mr. President keeps saying we have to consume what we produce. You know, we have the executive orders, we have all these incentives coming in place. Unfortunately, government does not have the kind of resources to fast track a lot of these activities. And one of the platforms we've recognized is working with the private sector. Said to the private sector, come. So a lot of the times we're engaging. You, if you are still a member of MAN, you would know. Whatever we do, we're engaging MAN. We're talking. What can you do? What can you not do? The Industrial Council too has been inaugurated. All kinds of things are ongoing. So, but I think the environment is there now. The political will is there. And I think even at most levels, people are sitting up and trying to adjust.
Those were the highlights of the day one of the minister's two-day visit to some of the big players in Nigeria's manufacturing sectors based in Kano State. The next segment of the program will focus on day two of the team's visit, where they toured Umza Rice Mill and Kano Free Trade Zone. Here are also highlights of the visit. Happy viewing.
You see, 6-7 years ago when we started this mill, at a point if you see the rice we produce, it's just like that rice with black, because the raw material is not good. The quality of the paddy is not good. The post-harvest handling is very poor. Almost everything is bad. And above all, you cannot even get more, because the people who are farming are not many. They don't even care to farm paddy, because at that time it's not expensive, 2,000 naira, 3,000 naira per bag. But if you look at the journey now, at least the quality of the paddy we are producing can be compared to any part of the world. At least it's a good thing. And also the number of people who are going back to the farm, who are producing, those who have expanded their farms, those who have started, are also increasing day by day. It's a good thing also. And hopefully, if the tempo is sustained like this, in 2-3 years, the history will be different.
If we're able to sustain this tempo, then there will be a few losses, but as the years come, I'm sure this will improve. And for the next rice season, it will be a little bit different, and so on. You will see there will be changes. We're hoping that by the next proper farming season, that insecurity will reduce because people are more engaged, more money is in people's pockets, so all these things that are happening at the rural level also start to, as you're sending your child to school because you have more money, you're doing different things, there'll be more concern and care.
And only electric oven in Nigeria. We don't use any fossil fuel, it is pure electric. And it has a PLC control system, which is make it more hygienic and more...
So that means your cost of production is very high?
It's not really high, because in recent times, with the advance of technology, initially we need about 500 kilowatt of electricity, but in recent time it has been reduced by 90%, which we need only 50 kilowatt to have our own. Exactly. We have a mixer over there. We have a mixer, and we've got the ingredients. And the beauty of it is that 80% of our raw materials are sourced locally within the country. They are coppers, and the good thing is that these coppers, they are the ones managing this factory.
Can you imagine?
Yeah.
I can remember when I approached Bank of Industry with my proposal to set up a biscuit company, some of the management looked into it and said, can that be possible with such little amount of money? I said it is possible. I gave the proposal for them to buy the basic machineries for me. I can vividly remember at that time, it cost me about 25 million naira. I make my application of 30 million naira, and 24,400,000 plus was given to me. And when my machines came, we did the installation. And I'm speaking with you now, our workforce is almost 200 people working around the clock, 24 hours every day.
The zone is purposely created or established to bring in employment and to encourage foreign direct investment.
We're going to have a report coming from the department in charge of NEBSA, and then we're going to take all the items. I think most of them cut across similar issues. Some of the visits we had yesterday talked about smuggling, foreign exchange, EEG, and so on. I think we would respond to each of them in writing, where we are and what we propose to do, so that they can also come back to us at any point in time and say, you said A, B, and C, where are you at this? Another thing we want now is closer relationship with the individual companies that we've seen, so that we can be working through their problems. Because the problems are genuine. Some of them are not going to be solved today, but at least we'll be taking steps, trying to see what we can do. Private sector also needs to be more engaged, because government resources are very limited. So I think from this one, we would do a written report and follow up. Perhaps liaise more often, quarterly briefs, find out where we are and what can be done, just to create the enabling environment.
Welcome back. We hope you enjoyed the journey around the ancient city of Kano with the Honourable Minister of State and her team. In the course of the program, you heard the Honourable Minister encouraging the business promoters with assurances of the federal government's continuous support for industries across the country. If you're a genuine entrepreneur and you need the Bank of Industry's support, do not hesitate to visit any of our state offices nearest to you. It's on this note that we'll draw the curtains on this week's edition of BOI Impact. See you next week, same time, same station, for another interesting edition. I am Hadiza Olaosebikan. Bye for now.
Nigeria records post-harvest losses and wastages annually in the agricultural sector due to limited processing and preservation capacity. This results in high food prices and food importation, with its attendant effects on the nation's foreign reserves. To enable Nigerians optimize the benefits from the country's vast agricultural products such as cassava, oil palm, rice, tomatoes, and others, the Bank of Industry has launched a 5 billion naira cottage agro-processing fund, the CAP Fund. Customers can access the fund to establish plants to process our various agro-produce into food products or intermediate raw materials for industries at a single-digit interest rate of 9% per annum. Bank of Industry, developing Nigeria's agro-processing industry through the CAP Fund.